I'm Kiyoki.
I'm Kiyoki.
And I'm Lenny.
And I'm Lenny. Welcome to Strive
Together. All right. I don't know. All right, so today, for this video segment, we're going to be talking about decomposers.
Decomposers ecosystem.
What are the things that you are doing? We kind of started talking about that. Actually, we talked pretty heavily about that in our last segment when we started talking about consumers and what are the things that you do that is not meeting your vision plan when it comes to your actions. But we'll get deeper into that now. So, distractions. Distractions is a major issue when it comes to college students.
Major.
And as a matter of fact, when it comes to college males, the number one addiction for collegiate males is video gaming.
What?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Wow.
The number one addiction.
I would say that's pretty true because
Yep.
at the high school level, they're crazy.
Then the number two addiction for collegiate males is smoking weed. They kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, college.
You know, when you think about
Drinking.
it. Well, college, but I mean, smoking weed. Well, it's not. I mean, I'm not an advocate for either, and I'm not saying that it's bad that if you do either of them. It's just more so like how much is it taking you out of your how is it taking you out of position to graduate from college? And I'm only talking about the number one and number two addictions. There are many addictions that get students in trouble. It could be, addicted.
Foot fetish. You know how many people are addicted to feet in college? I'm telling you, man, it's a distraction.
Are you addicted to feet? Are you telling me something?
I can't do I gotta have cute toes, man.
You're over there
cute toes.
Busking
no
toes.
chip paint. No chip paint. No chip paint. No chip paint.
Hey, but he will tolerate a corn or two.
Hey. Who doesn't like the maze?
Too much information.
Who doesn't like the maze?
Too much information.
Doesn't like the maze tortilla.
Distractions. And see, Lenny is a healthy distraction. So we're trying to remain on topic. The thing is that when it comes to time management, there are many things that a student will do. It could be involvement in student politics. It could be involvement with a student group. It could be your job. I have students who work full time or put more hours in because they feel that they need the money. Not saying that they don't, but if you're working 40 hours a week, then it really becomes difficult to be dedicated to your academics because you just simply, there is not enough time when you're taking a full credit, a full load of credits, and you don't have the time to dedicate to reading all the content and digesting all the content as dense content, and then preparing for midterms or writing papers. Even a 5-page paper can take all night if you're not prepared.
Have that outline ready.
Yeah, I mean, the win is in preparation.
So, bad habits.
Habits.
This is, as a decomposer, something that breaks down something, right? Decompose.
So let's say your goal, what you want is to be a healthy student.
We want to build that up.
Healthy student meaning spirit, mind, and body, right?
Yep.
Healthy in all those three different things. And what are the things that you're doing that's actually breaking that down so that way you are not living up to your own personal expectations?
So we have to identify what those decomposers are in those different segments. So if we're talking about distractions, which we're talking about, let's say parties, friends, extra time, like having just time where we're just sitting and we don't have anything to do, that can be good, that can be bad. Sometimes we need a mental break, but let it be that. Don't let it be something where idle hands get in trouble.
Well, idle hands can get in trouble, do get in trouble. The other thing, too, is that there are other external influences that can be a decomposer and you don't even think it is. Like, for example, your parents. Let's say your parents are getting a divorce and now you feel like you're getting caught in between mom and dad.
Family issues.
And you don't know, it's stressful for you because mom wants you to think a certain way, dad wants you to think a certain way, and then you feel like you're not doing enough to keep this relationship together. You did something wrong in this relationship, and there's so many different things, like also financial support, right?
Ooh, financial is a huge.
There are families that think that now you are a college student and you have financial aid, you just have money, so they're getting money from you.
Or how are you going to pay for college?
And how are you going to
working? Maybe you're working every day to pay for college. So that is a huge stressor.
Yep.
It's a huge distraction because you're not focused on just the content that you're supposed to be getting in, but now you're focused on how I make this money, how do I pay this, how do I make ends meet. I don't have time, just like you said earlier.
Yep.
I got to go to work.
Yep.
And
I get it. Like, I'm not trying to say that you can't work or you shouldn't work. I mean, I have students who are undocumented, right? And they have to work so they can pay for college. So it's a conversation about, like, how do we do it in a healthier way? How do we manage your schedule so that way you are still progressing in your academics while you're fulfilling your needs in the financial realm as well as your social realm and the academic realm.
Decomposers are always going to be there. We need decomposers, some of them.
We need decomposers?
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay.
Sometimes you just got to break stuff down and get it out, right? It's waste.
We'll talk about it.
We can't have waste.
Talk about it.
Right? So let's say we have a bad relationship.
Okay. Yeah. Toxic relationships.
Toxic relationships. There are so many of you that will hold on to that toxic relationship, keep trying to make it work, keep coming back to it, revisiting, and not understanding the time it's taken away from all the things that you're supposed to be doing. So every time you deal with that toxic relationship and it comes back, how much time are you putting into that? How much emotion and energy are you giving to that to where you're so tired that now you're not even focused on what you're supposed to be accomplishing in the first place? You got to get rid of it. You got to decompose it. You got to let it die.
Well, I mean, and it's hard. I mean, because you're allowing that person to take up a lot of space rent-free in your mind.
Rent-free. Just hoboing it up.
And just you
laying up.
Thinking about that
all up in your head and your heart.
All the time.
Stressed out.
And wondering what they're doing.
I got migraines all the time.
And it's, it takes, I mean, that takes an
emotional
emotional
toll. Crying in front
toll.
of strangers. People seeing you looking crazy. Oh man, you get yelled at.
Wait, are you talking about
any kind of toxic relationship, man? Anything that somebody's not a consumer of you or a producer of you, that's toxic, man. That's a decomposer. Sometimes you got to learn how to get rid of them. But back on
topic.
Back on more of what we're talking about is your bad habits. Decomposers are not going anywhere. They're always going to be there. You have to learn how to manage them. So if you're talking about your habits, which we talked about a little bit in the last segment, having good habits. What are good habits, though? Good habits are any habit or anything you do over and over repeatedly that gets you closer to your success or to what your goal is, right? So you have to make a SMART goal.
Yep.
You have to understand, I hope y'all know what SMART goal is, right? What's a SMART goal? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely, task, right? So having a SMART goal, learning how to do that, sometimes it's like, oh, that's stupid, but you're actually identifying every step that you need to know, right? Having those things in place, so when those decomposers come at you and you notice a bad habit that is getting you further away from that measurement that you need to be at, you can jump right back on task. That's a skill. Right. Decomposers take skill to manage. You have to learn how to build that skill muscle up. You have to be disciplined and stay focused.
Well, remember, you are at the center of all of these things that are happening around you. And so when Lenny's talking about managing the decomposers in your life, you have to come to a decision. Like, is this benefiting me or is this destructive to my own personal goals? And some of those, I mean, I know we're talking about like the difference like between black and white decision, but it really is, there's a gradient between, there's a lot of gray area in between this. And, but only you can make a decision that you feel is the best decision for you at that time regarding that situation. Everybody will have an opinion about how to handle these different challenges in your life. I would suggest keep on using an academic advisor, use a counseling office, use different information pieces, so that way you can find different ways of thinking about that particular situation in your life.
Back to your mentors.
So you can make a better decision about an informed decision about what is the best way to handle that experience in your life.
So who are your mentors again? Who are your mentors? And then who are the influencers in your life? Your friends, your teammates, your family, people that are close to you. Who are your influencers? And if they are your influencers, how do they influence you? Do you use them for getting out of decomposing positions? Do you use them to get you out of, hurdles and bumps in the road? What do you use your influencers for? If your influencers, again, are not good influencers and they're not getting you to where you want to go, or they don't have knowledge of the thing that you want to do, you shouldn't be spending a majority of your time with them. There's a time and place to kick it with your friends. There's a time and place to kick it with your family. There's a time and place, but you have to give everybody their fair share. And since you're on your path and your journey right now, you're in college, college should get a majority of your share, because that's where you're going to find your growth. Now, if you're giving it more to family, if you're giving it more to friends, if you're giving it more to
your job,
then
your volunteer work,
what happened to your goal? Your goal is this big now. Now everything else has got all your time. Your goal has no time. It's not moving. You have no momentum on your goal. So that goal is now being decomposed itself.
I should just say,
or
if you're so focused on the past challenges that happened in your life, like my mother, she immigrated from the Philippines and came here to the United States. She didn't really help me out with my homework. When I had to do my homework on my own, I had to learn how to be a student on my own. It was a really difficult thing for her to do to help me with my academics. And there was a lot of blame game there early on, like, oh, if only my mother could do this, if she could only hire a tutor. And you, at the center of being a decomposer, you can also do that to yourself and decomposing your own personal growth by the self-reflections that you have about your past experiences. But if you keep on looking in the rearview mirror and trying to drive forward, you're going to end up crashing all the time. And that happened to me all the time. I would just take 2 steps forward and then take 2 steps back, and then, or 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I can't do math.
I mean, sidestepping.
So there's a reason why the windshield is so big and your rear view mirror is so small. It's because your vision for what you want to be, the vision of where you want to go, has to be much more compelling than your past. I'm not saying forget your past. I mean, that helps us understand where we need to go and to prevent mistakes. But your
objects may appear closer in your rear view.
Your vision plan needs to be stronger than what you feel that you came from. And now now that I'm older and much more mature, I understand the sacrifices that my mother has made for me to even be in a position that I'm delivering this video to you today.
If you're walking around with your head down all the time, walking around with your head down, you're going to always miss your blessings, because you're not going to see them coming. And you're always going to miss them. Keep your head up. Look straight. Tighten up. Shoulders back. Confident. Self-esteem. Decomposer. That's a huge decomposer, what you're talking about. Your self-esteem will either make you or break you. Good thing about self-esteem, though, is you can manage it. You can change it anytime you want to by a simple fix of your attitude. If you feel like you are worthless, or you have depression issues, or anything like that, you have to figure out what the root of those causes is. So having emotional intelligence. I
would say also, like in those situations, also seek guidance from someone who's a professional, like a professional counselor, or if it needs to be a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever. I mean,
goes back to those messages that you get.
You can't do it on your own. And just because you're an adult and you feel like these are holes that you have developed for yourself and you need to get yourself out of that hole, doesn't necessarily mean that the onus is on you, that the burden is only on you. Seek out help, seek guidance, seek influences, use your mentors, put yourself in a position that other people can help you through the position that you're in, and talk through what are healthy decisions, what are healthy ways to work through the challenges that you have.
Your self-esteem can be one of your greatest strengths. You can, even if everybody around you says you can't do it, and you might not even be able to really do it, but if you have self-esteem that is just out of this world and you are so confident, then you might be able to actually do it. There's tons of stories of folks that weren't supposed to do things that they've done because they said, you know what? I can do it. I'm not gonna let anything stop me. I'm not gonna let anything distract me. I'm not gonna let anybody tell me anything and bring me down. And I'm gonna do it. They made a decision to do it, but they had help. They had somebody that got them to that point mentally. And then once you get to that point, being strong enough not to turn back, not to face it, not to change your mind, not to do anything. You have to figure out something that's bigger than yourself. Right? And figuring out your why, which is bigger than yourself, what your purpose is. If you make it about money or some materialistic
you're chasing
thing,
the wrong thing.
You're not going to make it. You're going to quit.
You're chasing the wrong thing.
It has to be bigger than yourself. I went through a whole bunch of depression going through college. Like, I was like, I don't belong here. I'm playing sports. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm getting injured. I'm having issues with the coaches. Like, the whole life that I thought I was gonna have.
Lift up your left arm.
Is not gonna be there. I can't even lift up my arm. I got injuries. Like I'm hurt, y'all. Like, but you know, I don't let that stop me. I made a decision to finish. I hated school. Ever since I was little, I hated school. Failed first grade twice. Almost sixth grade, I was in self-contained classrooms, like by myself. I'm in the classroom by myself, y'all. And that's how my education like went. And then came to college, still struggled. But you know what? I was like, I'm not gonna let that. I have something to prove. And when I'm the type of person, if somebody tells me I can't do it, okay, I'm gonna do it then, because that's what I've been getting all my life. You can't do this. You can't do this. You're too weak. You're too small. You're too ugly. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
You had the big glasses.
Big glasses.
Big one.
I got my master's degree. I was like, boom, I'm gonna get a master's. You know what I'm saying? Forget you, education. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. Everybody in my past that said I can't do it, everybody that said I couldn't make it to college, everybody said that I couldn't make it to a highest level of playing sports, boom.
A lot of us had those stories.
Everybody.
My high school counselor was helping everybody else get into college, and
she didn't like the way he smelled.
My high school counselor said, "Well, you look like you would be a great auto mechanic."
What? You look like an auto mechanic.
And so it was only through my mother's like pushing that I decided to actually apply to
that's cold.
University of Washington, to Western, to Central.
So you look like
Wazoo.
An auto mechanic model.
Yeah.
You look like you could be on the front page.
It was all bad. Like my self-esteem was shot, and I was actually on the line. I was on my way to apply to actually sign my name on the contract to go into the Navy. And my mom said, "Well, you know what? Just wait on that, and just send out your applications and see what happens." And it was just fortunate enough for me that I was able to get into all 4 colleges that I applied to in Washington State. I also applied to Cal Berkeley. Berkeley, if you're listening, I wanted to come to your school really bad, but you didn't want me. You didn't want it, brother. So I decided to go to UW. Go Dogs.
Hey, well, if you would have waited till I left California, then we had an open spot. Yeah, right. You gotta wait. You just gotta wait.
I wasn't patient. I wasn't
I'm glad this brother didn't join the Navy, because he would have been on boats, and I don't do boats. Yeah. So we would have never met.
We would never met. So it was my life's path was meant to be what it is, but I definitely did not feel equipped to be in college, and I felt like, and there is an actual thing that it's a theory they call imposter syndrome, and I definitely went through that. I know Lenny, he spoke about that. He went through that. A lot of us go through that, but I just felt like I was just carrying a backpack. I was just walking around. I was just carrying a backpack, walking around campus and
like books in it.
Pretending to be, I felt like I was pretending to be a student. Heck, some of those times I wasn't even a student. I was just walking around campus, so I was.
Here's a word of advice, y'all.
I mean,
this is what I learned. Nobody, even though we walked around feeling like we didn't belong, everybody else probably most likely felt the same way.
Same way.
All you can do is just take it day at a time. Don't interrupt me right now. Take it a day at a time and learn what you got to learn so that you can do the thing you want to do. Everybody that works in the corporate and all these things, they don't have it figured out. Nobody has it figured out. I work with all these people setting up all these programs. They do not know what they're doing. But what they do have is a skill set. They know how to fix problems, and they know how to come to a solution.
That is another topic.
Yep.
And we definitely will be talking about imposter syndrome in a later video. But if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that who are the decomposers in your life? What are the bad habits that you
Who
create?
is it?
And what are you trying to
Is
change?
it a friend of mine?
We'd love to hear from you.
Is it
Put it in the comment section.
Who is it?
Distractions. Decomposer.
It's a song for it. I'm singing the theme song for it.
you-
Michael Jackson made a whole theme song.
What theme song?
Who is it?
I don't even know that.
You see this dude? You see this?
His
Imposter.
tone is all up.
Imposter.
Tone is all up.
Here, let me give you an Imperato hat. Go ahead and wear your Imperato hat.
Anyway, strivetogether.com. Mahalo. Thanks for coming by.
Bye, beta.
Sweet mug. Leave
It's
a comment.
January, y'all.
Like, share, tell your friends
Founders.
about us. Happy Founders Day.
Charles out.